Welcome to Metafile Minutes, podcast where paperwork goes to die, invoices learn to behave, and finance teams finally get their weekends back. I'm your host, Eric Humes, and today we're doing something special. Instead of just going over a story, we're going to take a journey back through time and all the conversations that we've had so far. Think of this as the highlight reel, the recap special, the previously on Metafile Minutes. Except instead of drama and car chases, we've got AP automation, AI, a ton of laughs, and well, you know what? I think we should buckle up. It's going to be funny, real, informative, and maybe even a little mind altering. After all, we are dealing in the currency of time. We kick things off with the godfathers of MetaViewer, the original creators. Picture sitting around a campfire with the folks who invented the fire. That's what it felt like. They told us how MetaViewer was born from a simple need to stop drowning in paper. No buzzwords, no hype, just a better way to manage documents. Back then, no one even said AP automation, but they were already fixing problems that keep finance teams up at night. Today, the big insight that innovation isn't predicting the future, it's fixing what's broken right now and building something strong enough that it lasts into the future. If you fix today, then time is that much easier down the road. And speaking of broken, in our next episode, we met with two ladies who lived the pain every day until automation changed their everything. In episode 2, Kathy and Julie, our internal AP and finance gurus, they walked us through the before and after, what it felt like before. Invoices wandering around the office, trying like lost puppies, trying to find signatures, trying to go through the inner office purgatory, not wanting to hover too much, but really needing something signed. The filing cabinets that multiplied like rabbits in the spring, signatures that were stuck forever. And then the magic. We heard this time and time again, the magic of Metafile happened. Automation. All of a sudden, invoices are coded. They're approved within hours. Currency of time, not weeks. Julie told us it was like magic. See? Watching invoices fly through the system instead of being lost. Kathy really emphasized that COVID didn't lead to an invention. It led to the need for a solution that was already in place, and that was AP automation with MetaViewer. It just shoved it in their faces that this is something that we need to get in front of with all business. And it's not a theory. They talked about experience. They talked about all the ups, downs, trials, tribulations of working in the back office. We spend so much time focusing on the front office supply chain being kink-free, we forget there's often bottlenecks in the back office, and that's exactly what we're doing, is using AP automation as a method to remove those bottlenecks. One thing became very clear, and that is that once you've seen the light of automation, you never go back to chasing signatures with a pen. I mean, we heard about that in a few episodes when we reflect on what Julia talked to us and Quest about. We heard about that when we heard from Dean driving the bus into innovation and leading the way from on-prem to cloud and 6, 8 to 7 migrations. These customers have really taken automation and used that as the gasoline to propel them into the future. But automation isn't just what happens in finance departments. It's also about how companies like ours make it real for customers by making it real for ourselves. But now we've talked to the creators and we had talked to the people that are using it. But let's look under the kimono. Let's understand who's the team that delivers it, that implements it, that gets companies like yours up to speed. And that's when we talk to sales, professional services, and the product team here at Metafile. And episode 3 was like hearing a band talk about how they write a hit song. Sales sets the vision. Professional services makes it work in the real world. And product management listens to the crowd and writes the next track. And then just like that, you got a hit single. But no, really, it was fun to watch how the 3 different teams come together and show us how automation isn't just software, but it's a team sport. All the pieces need to work together to fluidly go through the process. We're not asking to alter processes. If anything, we offer the most customizable system to meet your process. But the whole process has to be aligned with what is being offered. Because every department has to play in tune. If you want to sound like, ah, right? Now, based on being in tune, what was the takeaway? Success isn't found in silos. Seeds are. But it's about the full band, bringing the whole farm together. And no one wants to hear a solo triangle for 45 minutes. Ting, 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 ting. Although Chris Farley would say more cowbell. Now, we've talked to the Godfathers. We've talked to the behind the scenes. We've talked to the people that are making the magic happen from day one. And just like any good band, sometimes you've got to upgrade your sound system in order to really get the theme to roar. And that's the theme of episode 4, is the upgrade, the move, the belief, the buy-in. And really, Dean Transportation drove the bus with this one. They were in front of moving from 6.8 to 7. Then they went from on-prem to the cloud. And they did this through consistent resistance. But they did it because they knew what was on the light at the end of the tunnel was so much better than what they were currently living in their day-to-day. They were looking for MetaViewer to help simplify the everyday. And that's exactly what the solution was able to do. So episode 4 tackled, as we like to call it, the great debate. Stick with the old, because if it's not broke, why fix it? Or move to the new. Art of the possible. What's in there? What's out there? So many imaginations on what we could do if we had time back in our day. The on-prem versus cloud debate. And really, that's just business analyst versus IT debate. The old version versus the upgrades. I know, it's not the most sexy of topics to discuss. Wrong. It's actually the very difference between a beautiful canvas and one that everyone's seen before. It's incredibly perfect to talk about. Sure, vinyl records still sound great. They get scratched. They get mildew. They get bent and warped. You know what? You can't fix that. When everything's digital, you can fix it, recode it, re-implement it, rerun it. The same sound every time. So let's step away from the vinyl and let's go to streaming on whatever platform you may use. The cloud isn't just easier for IT, it's actually faster, it's safer, and it's future-proof. Gone are the days of having, mainframes and data centers within the basement of corporate head office. Staying on that old infrastructure, it's just like driving an old car. Sure, it's comfortable. Some of those are the most comfortable. They look like boats. They don't handle the best. And you don't want to get in an accident when you're in that car. Really, you don't want to get in an accident ever. But staying on old infrastructure, it's the same thing. You're relying on what you know. You need to get out of your own comfort zone. Right? You want to be able to take the highway when you want to take the highway and take the back roads when you want to enjoy it. Put the top down. Have windows that you can put all 4 down from one seat. Not have to reach over and try to turn your way in. So all those analogies to really talk about. Dean Transportation had an incredible episode where they talked about not only upgrading from the old to the new, but also moving from on-prem to cloud, and just the amount of time savings and, by the end, buy-in that the company had. Right? They've been innovators ever since because they took a chance. The one real message I thought that Eric Toomey gave us that day was, if you're looking for the right time, it was 1 minute ago. Dive in, take a chance, do it. Now's the time. Because there's never going to be a perfect time. But the perfect time is always the minute you first think when you first start thinking about it, that's the time to act on it. Because it's not just bells and whistles. It's security, scalability, freeing yourself from that weight of the paper. Imagine being able to grow and not having to always have to add bums in the seats. Imagine being able to go to sleep and not worry about what's going on with your system or your data. Everything is upgraded. when you move to the new 7.0. But just in automation, you should always be staying ahead of the curve. Now, we've talked about focus. And really, episode 5, this is what we talked about. This is what we focused on, was how using automation can be brought into the playing field, and you can tackle the naysayers. Ingo and Susanna from the Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group took us into their AP huddle, and their opponent was human error. That's a tough touchdown when you're always up against human error, duplicate invoices based on the multiple entities within their database, and enough filing cabinets. They almost didn't need an offensive line. They could just put the filing cabinets out there because they were so big. But what was their secret weapon? Metafile, with the utilization of our MetaViewer solution and automation. And that's when things started happening. All of a sudden, boom, they're marching down the field. But, reception, running drive. And they just keep making up yards. Now all your records are kept. They're searchable forever. You're not drowning in piles of pallets of paper. We had a great conversation. So great that we had it a second time because I forgot to record our first episode. And it really brought to light the fact that when you start to talk about automation with those that live it and breathe it every day is a new day. Automation allows your mind to be expanding and to try to tackle new things that are coming at you because you know what is happening behind the scenes and you can trust it because you have a valued partner. The fact that in the old days, it's Susanna laughed, right? Invoices would just disappear. It's like magic. Everyone loves magic. You ever wonder, though, where the people that disappear from the stage? Are they okay? What happened to them? Imagine that was invoices and you're waiting for approval. I can't. It's unfathomable. And then the idea of shredding. I mean, if you're ever looking for kindling, the perfect place to go is someone who's just signed up for automation because they're going to have boatloads of shredded paper you could use to get that fire started. And now, they're talking about how they get approvals in seconds. Seconds. That really changes what's happening. Now, whether they're searching, whether they're implementing something new, or they're starting to budget for next year, they have data, they have a solution, they have everything at the tips of the fingertips. We talked about AI a lot in this conversation, and how AI is starting to come in, and how appreciative they are of the AI component that really powers the MetaViewer solution. Not only does it have that 99% accuracy, right, but the ability to keep training it and to keep adding to its intelligence. It just makes everything feel more futuristic, but in real time, capable and reliable. All the things that have let us be here for 46 years. We also talked a lot about where they push and press the solution's boundaries to expand into a corporate card and expense reporting. Sure, we can do expense reporting, but having to integrate in with those corporate cards, be able to take one corporate entity and be able to divide it up amongst the tens of hundreds of people that have a card. And then how do you rectify that on a month in, month out end? And we've been able to do that without issue. There was also the end of the conversation where we talked about the need to upgrade. Depending on your ERP, there's a huge transition occurring right now. And as people go from, being good people, they're looking for beautiful communities. They're looking for function and optimization. They're looking for things that are accurate. When you're looking at those in ERPs, there's a reason that there was such a large member group in the GP area, and where they're all going, well, it's yet to be seen. But where they do go comes with a lot of hesitation, but then a lot of confirmation when they know that the center of calm, which is the AP automation solution, remains intact. It allows them to know that things are still being paid. They're still having money come in. The lights will stay on as they go through the chaos that is the switching of all their other systems. And, to bring it back to the field, if you will, AI is just smart enough that it allows you to really handle the approvals while you watch the football game. Go Red Blacks. So the story showed us that automation, it isn't just efficiency, it's confidence. It's the right QB to lead the team down the field. So let automation be your QB. Now, of course, everyone believes it, until they see it. And that's why what we've started to do is at the end of an episode, right? We stay on with the team and we open up the idea of giving a demo, doing a show and tell of feature sets that are in place, new ones that are coming, and really allowing us to just show everyone from a first row view where the magic happens and how it happens. Invoices come in, whether it be from an email, scanner, whatever, and then goes through the AI engine, and boom, POs are automatically matched, flows straight through, non-POs routed for approval without anyone having to retype a single number. It's just the magic of Metafile, right? Not only does it allow us to feel like we're magicians, but it allows us to feel like it's not a performance. This is our everyday life. We believe in what we have. We use what we have. But the rabbits out of the hat that you're used to seeing, you just don't see with Metafile. When you use MetaViewer, the rabbits are time. Imagine time. We are brokers in the currency of time, and it's time that we give back to you because you're not having to waste it by keying in vendor names again. The big reveal is that MetaViewer isn't only for data entry replacement. It's the whole workflow engine that makes the finance teams smarter, faster, when finance is happier, more willing to allow the company to spend and grow. So, we've wrapped up who drove the bus to the game, who's playing the game on the field, who's behind the scenes feeding the players, creating the actual game, and even the ones that are going in and making sure the field's ready and that everyone in the stadium has their tickets. But now let's try to look through this through a different pane of glass. And that's exactly what we did in the next episode. When we thought we had laughed all we could laugh, did we ever have a good conversation with Julia Sue from Quest Windows? And she really dropped the mic in this episode. Right? Julia tells us about how every accountant's dream and what is of telling their customers or their staff or their employees that they've found a way to remove the chaos of the everyday. That they no longer have to worry about paper cuts and now need to figure out what they're going to do with all the extra time they get back in their life. Right? When she joined Quest Windows, she walked into a time of chaos. Papers stacked a mile high. Email approvals lost. 3 different finance systems that didn't even talk to each other. Hello, hola, bonjour, konnichiwa. I know that's 4, but one of them we all can talk with. The other 3, not as native as we'd like them to be. And her mission, kill the paper. So she did. Quest went 100% paper. They were 100% paper-based to 100% digital in 1 year. No printing, no folders, no frantic end-of-month hunts. Now, everything's set out, it's automated. Julia can find an invoice in seconds, even when she's working from home in her sweatpants. Not sure if she wanted me to repeat that, but guess it only depends what you're wearing on the top. And that's why we're the top of AP automation offerings. 45 years, making sure that we are listening to our customer base and going back with what it is they find important and they think there's relevance and see a return on investment from. She proved that automation isn't just about saving money. It actually transforms the culture of a business. When you take away paper, you don't just take away the clutter, but you remove the pain. And similar to Step Brothers, bunk beds, there's more room for activities. There's filing cabinets. There's more room for imagination. Our favorite thing as children was to stare through a pane of glass and imagine the world outside and what it could be. And now we found a way to offer that through the use of an AP automation solution, document management capabilities, and how that allows businesses to be imaginative, to be creative, and to be transformative in their time when they're right. Now, at this point in the conversation, we had some really good time to reflect on what's the main messaging we're having? What is it that we need to do differently? And this is what led me to think that as fans, as all our viewers are seeing, we have customers that have made this transitions that you're currently contemplating. We have customers that have come out the other side, and although they will tell you there were some days where it was a bit frustrating because of the chaos that circles around you, Metafile was able to offer that sense of calm, that ability to be there for our customer base while they went through a migration to a new ERP or an upgrade, and still make sure the bills were paid on time. We also really saw how, customers, the longevity of our customer base and the partnerships and relationships that have been created. We thought it'd be interesting to step outside of just, the Metafile world. And let's find someone who could tell us stories of the accounting world behind the scenes. What is it that we don't hear all the time? And finally, in episode 8, we zoomed in on that person as we zoomed out on the company view. And we heard about a man who's lived the accounting globetrotting dream. He's been here, there, and everywhere. He's worked in industries large, industries small. He's gone through so many roles, and he continues to grind, and yet comes across so humble, and he is one of the most intelligent people I know. Tom Kerwin's career reads like an accounting travelogue: tax, audit, agriculture, hospitality, real estate. He's done it all. Sounds like Metafile back in the day. No vertical, no focus, just learning from everyone, which allows us to be so honed in and industry leading in our AP automation currently. His early AP process was pure manual misery. Clerks keying in invoices, checks matched by hand. Today, automation codes expenses, builds dashboards, and gives them visibility into the net operating income across the various properties in North America. Tom gave us the most mind-altering insight of the season so far, when he pointed out that ROI isn't just about dollars. Dollars you can always make more of, but time you never get back. When automation gives back time, it doesn't make us less human. It makes us more capable, because instead of typing numbers, we get to think, advise, and actually create value. That's the future of accounting. Value-based accounting. I remember when it came into the selling world, value-based selling. But imagine you were doing your accounting based on value, not based on potential, not based on historical, based on the value that comes with being able to offer that much more at the same operating cost, because you're not having to continually train new people. They have the time for the current people to keep expanding their capabilities. They often say that with AI, there's going to be this plethora of jobs that are lost, but the only jobs that would be lost are for those that haven't embraced the transformation that is the future. And when you embrace AP automation, you're embracing that transformation. You're creating yourself to be ready to face every and any challenge that may come your way. It really has opened up the eyes of us internally at Metafile and of our customers to see what the art of the possible is with MetaViewer. What can Meta Connect offer when it's looking at other ERPs for us to have that seamless integration? Where does the meta analytics go? How do we know what's going on the day-to-day with money in, money out? Right? How are Meta Payments bringing an offering that is now offering full automation from PO to payment? We go through the whole piece of it, allowing you to budget more in syncly. We're also really making sure that as there's different orders and processes or resistance, that we're able to find ways to help navigate, consult, and help lead our clients and friends at the end of the day to that next realm, the realm where MetaViewer is in place and offering the future of accounting. The future of accounting, not just numbers. Let that sink in. It's a bit mind-altering, really. And so that brings us full circle from the Godfathers to the initial ladies that went through the first process to those that offer it and drive it from behind the scenes. And so often, Dorothy was told to click her heels. There's no place like home. Home is where you are when you have MetaViewer as part of your everyday. Then we jumped on the bus and went for a ride with Eric Toomey and Dean Transportation, and really got to see what that transportation and transformation looked like. We called the last minute timeout with OSAG, and we had to run the play twice because the first time I was offside to really make sure that we got those extra points, understood how Meta Expenses was working, and where we were going to be able to take that offering from there. Then we looked at things through a whole different pane of glass. The one where an individual came into chaos and found calm by the use of our solution, a solution that offers that calm. So much so that as she's, gone to other companies, they're now acquiring the same calm because she believes she's seen it firsthand. What happens when you bring automation? It doesn't just change an accounting team, it changes the culture of a company. From that, we like to talk about just kind of the workflow and what it is that you're going to be able to see and do, how we can bring approvers and approvals from minutes to seconds, how we give time back into the day, how we offer you the ability to grow 3x, 4x with not having to change headcount. And then we really wanted to double down and just hear from someone outside that wasn't a paid actor, if you will. They were not a Metafile customer. They're just an accountant. Not just an accountant, but someone that's in the profession that understands the art of what we're delivering and what we're speaking about, when we're on our engagements and we're speaking with all our fans and our viewers here on the podcast, and what it is that allows us to be able to ensure that everyone understands automation doesn't replace people. It empowers them. It unleashes people to be more. It gives finance teams their hours back. It gives them clarity. Hey, it might even give them weekends. Maybe not at the end of the month, but somewhere in the middle for sure. Now, you hear me say it all the time. When you bring automation into your life, you're bringing in the acceptance of change, but also the realization that things are going to be better. When you bring MetaViewer into your life, you're bringing in a broker in the currency of time. You're about to be not just rich, but wealthy with all the time that you'll have to implement, think, and just experiment in different realms. So I hope you enjoyed the summary. It's been actually a ton of fun to go back and think about what it is we've learned so far. What have we done? What are the similarities? Now, please stay tuned. Our next episode will be coming from Microsoft Summit, where hopefully we can be able to sit down with a few customers, maybe even a few, just walkers by. We'll get their impression of what AP automation is to them and where they think it's going in the future. It's going to be ad-libbed. I guess I'm always ad-libbed. And it's going to be real. From there, ideally, we're going to talk to some customers who are making ERP decisions in real time and understand how AP automation comes into play when they're looking at making these decisions and ensuring that they're ready to make the move to the future. After that, I have a ho 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 special where we just talk about all things festive and holiday. Then we'll wrap it up for the year and get ready to kick off at 2026. But let's not just wish time away. I wish for time back, not to be sped up, but for it to slow down. And as we slow down the time of the day, let's make sure we speed up and accelerate the approval process. So, thank you. And after the full circle, we've gone around the clock. Till next time, we'll see you on Metafile Minutes, where paperwork goes to die, invoices learn to behave, and finance teams finally get your weekends back. Your host, Eric Humes. Till the next episode.